Yeah, I'm game. Absolutely. You should go on a cruise with it. Good evening and welcome to the Coffeyville City Commission meeting for Tuesday, April 9th, 2019. Tonight's invocation will be led by Pastor Kevin O'Connor. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening, Lord. We thank you for this time that we can come together and discuss the business of Coffeyville. Lord, we thank you for everyone that came tonight. Lord, we thank you for our city leaders, and we continue to pray for them as they make decisions going forward for our community. Lord, we pray that you would be mindful and lead us and guide us in every decision we make. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thanks, sir.
Your mic's on. Tonight's consent agenda. City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, March 26, 2019. 2019 appropriation ordinance number AO-19-07 in the amount of $983,298.70. And ordinance number S-19-01, second reading of an ordinance to rezone property located at 1108 West 12th from R1 Single Family Residential to I1 Light Industrial. Do we have any questions or comments or changes to these items on the consent agenda?
I have none. I move to approve it.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Taylor is absent tonight.
Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Commissioner Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
and Mayor Bauer.
Aye. We'll move into regular agenda items. We're going to move to the proclamation declare April 14th through 20th, 2019, a National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And I will read the proclamation to the police department. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained by citizens to telephone the Coffeyville Emergency Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services and are the single vital link for our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Coffeyville Police Department have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients, and have exhibited compassion, understanding, professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now, therefore, I, Paul Bauer, Mayor of the City of Coffeyville, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the week of April 14th through 20th, 2019 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Coffeyville in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We don't have a photographer here tonight, so. Next item under regular agenda items, the Montgomery County Action Council Quarterly Report. MAC Executive Director Tricia Purdon will give a report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for having me here. Like we discussed at the fourth quarter meeting, we wanted to make sure we're trying to give you quarterly updates on what's going on in economic development across the county. So today I'm going to go over some quick things that we have currently going on, and then give you an update of obviously some of the larger projects that we've had ongoing. So as you probably heard, we have a draft of our economic development strategic plan. The last spring, we applied for funding through the USDA for the Rural Development Grant Program to fund a countywide economic development strategic plan. And this was spurred, excuse me, this was spurred due to all of the work that we have been doing for the Tyson Project, and realizing that it would help us in not only the Tyson Project, but all future projects, to have a solid plan that addresses that industry, that addresses all of our current industries, and where we might go from there. If nothing happens, if something does happen, or if we stay exactly the same as we are now with our existing industries. So we're about halfway through that process. They're going to be back here again. They'll be here, they'll fly in on the 22nd and be here April 23rd. They won't be able to make it to the commission meeting, but I would invite you to join us when we have them in town. We're still kind of nailing down their flight schedules when they'll be here. But Janet Adey of Adey Advantage will be here, the CEO of the company, to really talk through our plan. And she said that our plan was really one of the more interesting ones that she's done so far with her team. Some of the feedback that we got, some of the things we currently have going on, and some of the assets that we have. She said we have stronger assets and a better organizational readiness than she's seen in most economic development groups that she's worked with in the past. So we're really excited to hear that. We feel that way always, that we're trying to be as proactive and ready as possible in case we have an industry come in. But hearing that reaffirmation of a company who also does site selection for major industries was nice to hear. So the key thing that we've got out of this draft so far that I'm really excited about is a targeted industry list. And what they did was they assembled MC data, which EMSI, and that comes from Kansas Department of Labor and all the way from the Federal Department of Labor. And they study our existing workforce, the skill sets, the job categories that each individual employee works in and under when employers turn in their records. And they determine our existing workforce that's in our area, the people who are currently unemployed and their skill set that they may have turned in through Kansas Works. And they evaluate really what industries fit our existing workforce within a 50-mile commuting distance. So they did analysis over a 10-county region of that workforce data, and they've narrowed it down to several industries, but down to the 6-digit NAICS codes. And I'll go through a few of those. So the 4 categories they have us listed under are agribusiness, which we're hopeful that they would say agribusiness actually is an industry, but that obviously covers crop production, animal production, and pet food manufacturing. Heavy and light industrial manufacturing, there's a couple in here that were not on our watch list, so I'm excited to hear this. So a couple of those that we weren't really targeting were window and door manufacturing. We have a lot of raw materials in this area that could service that. Pipe and pipe fittings, obviously oil and gas machinery, aircraft, those things we knew about. But then power pump and motor manufacturing, we have industries that work with those companies, and so having that supplier right here in Montgomery County might be a huge asset for some of our regional businesses. Supply chain support, they strongly suggested that we really focus on recruiting some of those freight and transport companies. If you build it, they will come, and we've already got it built. So if we can recruit some of those freight and transportation companies to have a central distribution center here, we might be able to use the large Amazon building that we have out there as one of those central hubs, and then have the freight systems that we have in partnership with Watco and some of our other partners in the area with the Port of Catoosa, and really align some of our things that we have in place already here in Montgomery County, and specifically Coffeyville. And then professional, scientific, and technical services. They did an analysis of the services offered at the 2 community colleges, and they really saw an area that if we really dug in a little farther with our community colleges and really worked in more collaboration, we might be able to see some of those more technical positions coming out of our community colleges and creating a hub for industry, especially with Coffeyville having the access to fiber network. That was a key thing that they said was an asset that we should be looking at. The other big thing we've been working on is our new talent turnaround program, which I unveiled, I think, at our 3rd quarter board meeting last year. That was just a concept, and so far we've been really trying to get into the details of how to implement that program. So we had a 3-step program, which was recruit new employees to our existing businesses, retain our existing youth, so whether they right out of high school straight go into the workforce, or let's say they are, excellent students and they go off to KU, they get their chemical engineering degree, we want them to come directly back and come and work for CVR or one of our other industries in the area. So how do we do that? And then the third piece was retrain. And we, at our last board meeting last week, we were excited to announce that Kansas Works has picked up the retraining program. We'd applied for a grant to be a pilot community for their program. And what that does is provide a job coach, and they're going to pilot, so there's going to be a few industries that we handpick for this initial pilot. But they will have a job coach that goes on site to our employers and really works with those employees that have had frequent challenges. In manufacturing, it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out typically. And so we want to make sure that when an employee gets to even 1 strike, that they're working with these job coaches to figure out really what's causing their issues. Is it reliable transportation? Is it reliable child care? Is it a health issue in their family? That maybe if we align them with some of the other resources, which we have plentiful resources in Montgomery County, we might address some of these issues before they get bumped out of the workforce and we have this constant cycle of people in and out of employment in our county. So we're hoping to really improve our existing workforce by keeping them in the workforce as much as possible. So we're excited to hear that Kansas Works approved that pilot program, and we are one of the pilot communities in the state of Kansas for that. The other 2, we're working with our superintendents and our community college to get going. As you might have seen, Wichita Tech, their president has been appointed to the White House Council on Technical Colleges and Technical Education, and we've been working with her to try to implement that program down here. So we're having difficulty getting a hold of her now. She's a little busy on a national level, but we'd really like to see that continue. And I think at this point, we're probably just going to go ahead and tailor it here to our county and take some of the pieces that they did there and see what our colleges here can adapt with what they already have in place to move forward. The last thing we really want to try to do is, in celebration of the 150th of Coffeyville, we want to do a manufacturing tour, and we worked with several of our area manufacturers to try to do a tour for citizens who maybe have never seen what Acme Foundry might look like, that might have never seen what John Deere looks like, and actually take them in and celebrate those industries that really have kept our community thriving for the past 150 years. Acme Foundry has been around for 115 now, I think, something like that. So we really need to celebrate those businesses. And I know my eyes were opened going through and touring those facilities, and I think that our citizens need to see how amazing these businesses are and really celebrate those. So that's one of the things we're going to be doing this year in part of the 150th. And then this fall, we're going to take part in National Manufacturing Day, and Coffeyville Community College is going to be helping us with this. But we're going to have our area manufacturers all put on displays, most likely in Nellis Hall, so a massive facility, and have interactive booths of our businesses. So Textron maybe having part of one of their planes in there so people can actually see what this looks like, and bring all of our students from all 4 school districts. Ideally, I dream big, right? But try to have them all go through that facility so they can really see what we have here in Montgomery County, because I think a lot of people don't realize some of the amazing companies that we have right here in our own backyard. We also applied for a USDA RDBG grant application again this year. We applied for $100,000. We don't know if we'll get it yet, but we have been so successful in our small business development programs the last few years that we're almost out of money. We've loaned out almost all of our revolving loan fund that MAC has. So we applied for another round of funding. The last time we received funding was in 1998, so we've been very good stewards of that money. And actually, it's been fully revolved. Everything's always been repaid. We've never had a single loan go in default that we've had with the funding we received from 1998. But we have so many loans currently outstanding from amazing businesses that have opened in the past 2 years that we're down to about $20,000. That won't even do one loan now. So we're going to take part of that money, though, and do business training. We are going to take $10,000 of it for rapid loans, so prototyping to really get some of our industries that are working on prototypes and startups. That's a really hard thing to get funded, and so we're planning on doing a rapid loan program for that, and then $25,000 of that will go towards business marketing. We have consultants that we've gone through with Destination Bootcamp that will teach our small business owners how to actually operate profitably by putting their displays up in certain ways to increase the walkability of their stores, pull them in from the sidewalks to come into their stores, things like that. And then also to work on finance training, how to actually operate QuickBooks, programs like that that we hear time and time again from our small businesses, and especially our startups that are needed. So we're going to be doing those on a monthly basis. And then I wanted to talk, John, obviously Reawakening, which we have some folks here from that. We were honored to be asked to be part of the Coffeyville Area Community Foundation's portion of Reawakening. So we went with them and a team to Wichita to do a 3-day intensive program on how do you take foundation and all this assets that a foundation has and economic development and truly make a large impact in a community. And so we really worked collaboratively together with this team, and I'm excited to hear some of the things we have moving forward. I think we'll start seeing some of those things come out, but we're really excited about it, and I think the focus being on downtown Coffeyville is really it needs to be, and we're excited to kind of see that vision. And then speaking of downtown Coffeyville, we'll be heading to Las Vegas in May. We go every year to recruit new retail to our community, and downtown Coffeyville is definitely going to be the focus of our retail recruitment. We have obviously the frontage where Dalton Defenders Inn is currently, and we need to get something going in that spot with our high visibility locations, and then also on East Coffeyville area. So we'll be bringing marketing materials to Las Vegas to recruit developers, retailers to Coffeyville for those positions. The last piece I wanted to talk about was we are going to be doing some new innovative marketing things this year. We were asked to participate with Team Kansas, and we're going to be going to the International Trade Recruitment Show in Washington, D.C. this summer. And as part of that, we're putting together a virtual reality building tour of our facilities, of Amazon, Southwire, and our existing vacant spots that we have in Independence, Caney, and Cherryville. So we can really show these prospective businesses what our community looks like from Washington, D.C. We have virtual reality glasses they wear. They'll have a part of a community tour, which Sam down at the chamber is going to be helping us with also, and they'll help create this script and really walk them through tourism, get the feel of the community, walk the Amazon building virtually, so that we can hopefully recruit them to come on a personal site visit. But most of the time we get skipped because you can't get a good visual just from pictures these days when you're looking at a big empty warehouse. So we're hoping that this system will help us move forward. So we're partnering with several of our area partners, including Amazon, and hopefully Southwire. We haven't received confirmation yet from them on that, but if we can get all those partners together, we'll get that funded so we can get that going. So we're trying to be more aggressive with marketing, trying to be more aggressive with the new owners of Amazon, which we're really excited. They're very aggressive. They're doing some really great things. They've got the building all cleaned up. I don't have to walk through it with an umbrella to knock down cobwebs anymore. So it's starting to look really sharp and actually marketable. And of course, what everyone always wants to hear about is the status of Tyson. I'm sure you all felt like you're out of the loop, but I can tell you that it has really been quiet. A lot of that is due to new turnover at Tyson. They have a new CEO. Last month, they got a new vice president of poultry. They got a new president of governmental relations. And so we're trying to reassemble the team and get everyone back on the same page. Our core team, however, Bernie, Ruth, and Ted are all still there. They're still very active on this project, but they are trying to get their bosses now caught up to where we are. We are meeting regularly with Kansas Department of Commerce. We are lucky enough to have David Tolan as our new Secretary of Commerce, and he has been part of this project this whole time. He is my peer when he was at Allen County. Frequently when we hit a roadblock on Tyson, I would bounce ideas off of him, and we'd talk through how do you be more transparent? How do you get community collaboration on a project like this? And so we bounce ideas off of each other for his projects and mine. So I'm glad to hear that he's our Secretary of Commerce. I don't have to brief a new secretary on what's going on, and he is our biggest ally. If we have everything aligned, we couldn't be better aligned right now. In the meantime, however, we need to be as prepared as we possibly can for Tyson, and Ted has basically told me as much. So we are going to be going through the Kansas site certification process for our site that we've designated for them to really go through the checklist of every single thing that we need to address so that it literally is shovel ready. When they announce, they can break ground the next day and they can start building the next day. And all of those headaches with phase 1, phase 2, soil borings, permitting, all of those things are done ahead of time. So that's what we're going to be doing over the next few months. And that will take about 6 months to get completed, which is what the time took for Humboldt, Tennessee. If you followed their announcement, they announced in November of 2017. They didn't actually do even a showing of a groundbreaking till the following spring, and they didn't actually groundbreak until the end of the summer. So that's because they had to do all of those pre-site certification processes. So we're just going to do those now to save us some time and hopefully move that process a little forward. Once we get into that, who knows what we'll find, but we're going to do what we can to make sure that's as ready as we possibly can. So with that, I'll open up for questions. There's a lot of information. I do have our annual reports. You guys should have all received these by now. Everyone should have a copy of these, but if anyone wants a copy, we have annual reports here. It's also on our website, so you can find all this information on the website as well.
Questions?
I don't have any questions.
No, very good.
Okay,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you. This time we'll move into new business. Discussion and action to make an appointment to the Park Advisory Board. We have one applicant, Marcy Roberts. Marcy, if you want to step up to the microphone, kind of just give us a little background and why you want to be on the Parks Board.
Thank you. As Paul said, I'm Marcy Roberts. I am the Chronic Disease Risk and Reduction Program Manager for Montgomery County, based out of the Health Department here. And we basically work on programs, initiatives, and projects that work to improve the health and wellness of our citizens, mainly as they focus around tobacco, physical inactivity, and poor nutrition, since those are the three main drivers of chronic disease in our country. I'm excited to serve on the Parks Board. I think Parks and Recreation are an awesome asset to any community, and I think it's important that we make sure that they're serving our community as they should, and they're what that people expect from us, and just a great quality of life asset for us. So,
Good. Questions for Marcy?
Thank you for applying, Marcy.
Yeah. We always struggle to find willing applicants to apply for our boards, so
thank
yeah,
you.
we commend you
Thank
for stepping up.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve Marcy for a 4-year term on the Parks Advisory Board to serve until January 1st, 2023.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Marcy Roberts to a 4-year term on the Park Advisory Board, serving to January 1st, 2023. Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you, Marcy.
Resolution number R. Resolution number R-19-22, a resolution to purchase insurance coverage for the city of Coffeyville. Finance Director Stephanie Richardson will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, as you know, we hired Charles Wood Consulting to do some RFP work for us on our insurance programs this year. They have been to one of our commission meetings previously to kind of let us know where they were in the process. They're back this evening to let us know the results. So I'll introduce Peter Simonson from Charles Worth Consulting.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Commission. I'm here tonight to present on the results of our marketing that we've done for the city's property and liability insurance program. We were here in February to kind of present some updates on where we're at in the process and kind of talk about some of the differences from the programs. And we're back here tonight with the final results. Your insurance program renews on May 1, so you do not need to make a decision tonight. If you want to table this, we can come back and you can approve or select a program in 2 weeks at your second meeting in April, if that's what you want to do. So we have plenty of time to discuss, and I'm here tonight to answer any questions that you have. Just to get, and secondly, I'd like to really thank staff in terms of helping us with this process. Whenever we do an RFP like this, there's a lot of things that staff has to do behind the scenes in terms of getting us information, getting us schedules, getting us applications, loss runs, all that sort of stuff. And working with Stephanie and her team, it was really great to get the support and the information that we needed to make our job a lot easier. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and get into the results. Does everybody have the spreadsheet that we sent out with the 3 proposals that we received? These proposals came in March, and the first one is Arthur Gallagher, who is the broker, and they brought us a bid from One Beacon. One Beacon is your incumbent carrier. The city's been with One Beacon for a number of years, and Arthur Gallagher is the incumbent broker. That's the broker that the city currently uses as well. They are based out of Chicago, and so it's the Chicago office that services the city's account. We also got a quote from Arthur Gallagher out of Kansas City, and they brought us a quote from Midwest Public Risk, MPR, and that's a pool, a risk pool, which we can talk about here in a second. And then the third quote we got was from K-Camp, which is another risk pool, and they do not have a broker. They directly market their programs to public entities, so they did not have a broker involved. The ultimate cost of the programs are listed here. Your current program came in at $252,587. That is a decrease over last year, and that includes the broker fee of $28,000. So that is a really competitive quote. As I outlined in the materials, the property market nationally and worldwide is hardening because of natural disasters like forest fires, hurricanes, flooding, all those sorts of things you see on the news. So for us to come in under our costs from last year, it was really good. Normally we're seeing 5 to 10% increases across the board on property. So that's a really competitive quote just right out of the chute. Midwest Public Risk was the highest price quote, and K-Camp did come in a little lower. But for some reasons I'll get into here, cost is not the only factor when choosing an insurance program. The property insurance, which is what covers your stuff, so if there's a windstorm or a hurricane or a tornado or something like that, or your equipment breaks down, fire in the building, that's what covers all of those risks. That's your property insurance. The property insurance is consistent with what we've seen in the past from One Beacon, and is basically the same program that you guys are on right now. Moving on to the liability piece, which is a little different, is two things that we've noted here, and this is kind of one of the things that distinguishes, for us at least, the One Beacon program from K-Camp, is that sewer backup has full coverage. So since you guys have water, if you get a claim that the water's backed up into somebody's house, they file a liability claim against the city, you guys didn't maintain your pipes, those are fully covered under the One Beacon program that you have now. There's a $50,000 cap on that liability under the K-Camp program, and we've had other cities, $50,000 for a sewer backup is not a ton of money. We've seen those get blown through, and then the city's on the hook for whatever additional loss there is.
And where did you say Arthur stood on that?
Arthur Gallagher and One Beacon, your current program, has full limits, so it's up to the $2 million. It's up to the $1 million on that. Another thing that we clarified this year that we've had some concerns about is the liquor liability. You guys have alcohol that you serve at the golf course, and we have coverage for that under the One Beacon program. You would have been covered as well under any of the other programs, but that was an area that we wanted to clarify and went back to the broker to have some conversations to make sure that you guys have coverage for that, that risk. Looking at the two programs between K-Camp and One Beacon, one thing you have to consider when you're switching programs is the reporting of losses. Some of the liability lines are claims made policies, which means that the date that the claim is presented is what determines which policy it goes under. So every time you switch, there's the risk that there's something that is known that then you cannot report to your new carrier. But since it's a claims made policy, you cannot report it to your old carrier either. And so when you switch from claims made to claims made policies, that's always a concern, is are there any claims that we know about or should know about that have not been reported? And so we oftentimes suggest that entities that are doing that consider purchasing what's called extended reporting options. And so if you were to switch from your current program of One Beacon to another program, in this case, K-Camp, one thing you want to consider is purchasing that extra protection on the back end, and there's a cost associated with that. For an extra 2 years of reporting is about $30,000. So that, you can see, quickly eats up the differences between the costs of the two programs if you purchase that extended reporting period, which allows you to report any claims that you should have known about on the old policy going forward. We talked in February about the differences between insurance and risk pools. Your current program is insurance, which means if you pay $252,000 and there are a lot of losses, that's One Beacon's problem, as long as it's within the limits of the coverage. With a risk pool is a little different. In a risk pool, you are getting in the pool with the other members, and you pay into the pool, and then those losses, whatever they are covered by the pool. Now, the pool may purchase some excess insurance, but ultimately it's the members who are responsible for the financial stability of the pool. In insurance, it's One Beacon. It's the carrier who's responsible for the financial integrity of their program. And so because of that, there's differences between the two, and risk pools are not necessarily for everyone. Risk pools came about in the 1980s when the cost of private insurance went through the roof. So in the 1980s, if I was here, well, I wouldn't be because I wasn't that old, but let's say I was, and you know, you may see a private insurance quote that was 2 or 3 times as expensive as a risk pool. And at that point, it's, well, this is a no-brainer. We can't afford, or we can't even find private insurance, so let's go and get with the risk pool. That's not the case today. You still have really competitive, viable options in the private market, and you have a good loss history, and you've had great experiences with One Beacon and your current carrier, Arthur Gallagher, or your current broker, Arthur Gallagher. Staff reports that they've gotten great service out of them. They're happy with Arthur Gallagher and the claims handling that we've had with One Beacon. So when you're looking at that, it doesn't necessarily make as much sense to take on the additional risk of being in a pool and potentially being on the hook for losses when the costs are competitive in the private market. Does anybody have any questions about the programs or the spreadsheets?
I don't.
No.
I would look.
I think we've reviewed all this stuff. I don't have any desire to enter into a pool.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with moving forward with purchasing insurance tonight if the other commissioners are okay with that.
I'm in agreement.
I move to approve resolution number R-19-22 for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number R-1922 for the purchase of insurance coverage for the city of Coffeyville. Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Keep it simple.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot.
sir.
And feel free to, if you have any follow-up questions about your program, always free to.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you for your work.
Resolution number R-19-23, a resolution to execute an engineering services agreement with Power Engineers for air compliance reporting for the electric utility. Mike Shook will make comments.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening.
Good evening.
Power Engineers, formerly SIGA Engineering, have been providing engineering services to assist utility staff with both KDHE and EPA Clean Air Act compliance programs for the electric utility. Power Engineers provides city staff with 2 environmental engineers to assist in evaluating, directing our compliance program, including assisting in all quarterly and semi-annual reporting efforts our renewal permitting processes, as well as any new or pending regulation changes for the coming year. Staff would like to maintain these reporting efforts through Power Engineers. Therefore, staff recommends the mayor be authorized to execute a professional services agreement with Power Engineers for air compliance reporting services for the electric utility in the amount not to exceed $25,000. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions from the commission? Is there happy with them?
We are. Actually, I think the last time we had this on the agenda was 2 years ago. It took us about 2.5 years to use those funds that you approved.
I'm good with it.
I move to approve resolution number R-19-23.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution R-1923, a resolution to execute an engineering service agreement with Power Engineers for air compliance reporting for the electric utility. Commissioner Doan?
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster?
Aye.
Mayor Bauer?
Aye.
And Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Resolution number R-19-24, a resolution to adopt aesthetic standards for wireless attachment devices within the city of Coffeyville. Mike Shook will make comments.
Mayor, Commissioners, the Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, have made recent revisions to the regulations requiring that states amend or adopt new regulations regarding small cell wireless device attachments to utility poles. The city engaged the services of Healy Law in January 2019, if you recall that, to assist in the development of guidelines and standards for small cell attachments, including the review of all of our pole attachments currently in place with the city. The FCC order allows for cities to approve and adopt and maintain guidelines for the placement of small cell wireless devices, including small cell antennas on city-owned properties, including our utility poles. These guidelines are designed to establish the aesthetic minimum standards limited by state and federal regulations to the size, weight, volume, height, and location of such attachments onto city-owned properties and utility structures. These standards also define the rules as to what qualifications are required of telecom companies when attaching to our utility poles that are above the communication space. Staff is recommending the approval of the aesthetic standards for small cell wireless as presented, and those have been given to you in your packet, and these were designed by Healy Law.
I have no questions or comments. Only thing I would add is that I think, now's a good time. Technology is ever gaining pace. and-
Actually, what's driving this is the government's push for 5G.
Yeah. So I move to approve resolution number R-19-24 for adoption.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution R-1924, a resolution to adopt aesthetic standards for wireless attachment devices within the city of Coffeyville. Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Vanister,
Aye.
Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
You're not done yet. Getting closer though.
Two more.
Resolution.
Hold on just a second, real quick. Those standards, the big old list, some of them I understood, some of them I didn't. I know you did.
For the most-
Those
for
are
the most
made by a law company, is what
They
you
were.
just said?
That is
So we
correct.
didn't personally make those standards by ourselves.
We did not.
Perfect.
Healy Law, who has experience in this
Mhm.
actual area, they've developed standards for other municipal, other cities with municipal utilities.
Mhm.
They presented these for me and my staff to review. Paul's reviewed them, Mark's reviewed these. We actually have a deadline of April 14th. We have to have these published. If we do not have them published on our website by April 14th, we cannot have aesthetic guidelines. So we're kind of up against the.
We're kind of against it, aren't we?
If I recall correctly, that's the law firm that we authorized the city to hire back in January.
And they're based in
So basically.
Arkansas, yes.
So basically, we're following the guidelines of the folks that we hired to write these guidelines.
Yes.
Right.
Awesome.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Summed it up good there, Commissioner Williams. Moving on to resolution number R-19-25, a resolution to purchase lights for Phase 1 of the historic downtown area lighting project. Mike Shook will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, utility staff have investigated and developed a plan to upgrade and replace the downtown lighting. This plan includes installing new decorative light poles and match the recently installed decorative stop and street signs downtown. That's the black poles that Public Services put up. The new light poles and fixtures will be equipped with LED bulbs, reducing the energy cost to the city while also providing better light quality to the downtown area. The current downtown street lighting poles and fixtures were installed during the urban renewal program, so these fixtures are nearly 50 years old. Replacement poles and replacement globes are becoming more difficult to source, so that we've got the big round white globes. We have a hailstorm, those get damaged. We have a really tough time finding replacements for those. Including the fact that the current design that's down there does not match the historic aesthetic look that is desired for the downtown area. The downtown street lighting project has been developed to be implemented into 2 phases. Phase 1 would encompass an area between 8th and 9th Street on Walnut, including the entire plaza area. Phase 1 will consist of a total of 15 new decorative light poles and fixtures. Phase 2, that we'll come back to the commission with, will encompass the remaining downtown areas west of Elm Street on 8th and 9th, totaling 66 additional poles and fixtures. Utility staff has sought pricing from several area vendors. However, finding a limited selection of products that would actually match our currently installed bases and bolt patterns. Border State Supply Solutions, offering Sternberg lighting products, have offered a light pole that will meet our base design needs, allowing the utility to simply unbolt the old poles, put the new poles on. Going this route would save man hours for installation and relieve us from the cost of purchasing base adapters. Our hopes are if this is approved tonight, our hopes are to receive the new fixtures and poles by early to mid-May, just in time so we can get them installed for the June 1st 150th celebration. Therefore, staff is recommending the mayor be authorized to direct the Director of Finance to issue a purchase order to Border States Electric Supply Solutions in the amount of $27,701 to complete Phase 1 of the historic downtown area lighting project.
One question, why are we doing this in 2 phases instead of all at once?
Because if we went ahead and did the other, we're estimating, if you just do the simple math on it, the other 66 would cost another $123,000. We believe we've located another funding source for that larger piece of the project through leftover bond proceeds from the Gen 2 project.
And are they available now?
They are, but we have to jump through several hoops to be able to spend that money. And we would have to visit with Gilmore and Bell. And
so what's the timetable to get the second phase underway?
I think our plan is to tie that in with the AMI project.
Okay.
Because we'll use some of those funds also to pay for the AMI project, so we're gonna lump that in together.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, if you wouldn't mind, I know I asked you this, but can you tell us, you've got the double acorn lights and then the single acorn lights. Can you tell them what your plan is?
So the double, if you can hold that up, we didn't have anything for the cameras, but so the double will replace the 5 globe lights poles around the fountain, and then the single lights with the acorn style fixtures. Those will replace the currently double globe lights that are just up and down the streets.
And these are all LED,
They are LED.
so they'll be much brighter than, should be much brighter than what we have
should,
currently.
and in addition to that, we're also, the current poles that are down there, light poles down there, we have 120 receps, plug-ins mounted down at the bottom of the pole. We're going to equip these with 2 plug-ins, so it'll be easier. It'll adapt for Christmas lighting and such.
Very good.
Is this, for our discussion earlier, is this kind of the time to talk about the rods and the?
In addition to these, to the poles, we also are looking for the 150th at purchasing for the corners through the same company. Or actually through a separate company. We've got a cheaper route to go. We can purchase banner rods. I'm sure you all have seen the banner rods. So we're going to purchase just enough for the Walnut Street. So if the chamber wants to purchase Coffeyville 150th banners, they can place those down there for for the celebration. And on the corners, we're gonna purchase flower basket holders where they can hang potted flowers off the street light poles on the corners.
I think that'll really dress things up,
Yeah.
make it look nice.
Great.
Very good. Thank you, Mike.
I think. Questions or comments? Any other questions or comments?
I move to approve resolution number R-19-25 for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number R1925 for adoption, a resolution to purchase lights for Phase 1 of the Historic Downtown Area Lighting Project. Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
City managers report.
Mayor, Commissioners, keeping it short, which I know you will like, but it is, it's great to work with staff. They're preparing for spring, and we know our workload is going to increase, but staff wants to remain ahead of it. So we are doing some new things, looking at different ideas. We're also, staff is working on different projects, and the downtown reawakening is part of that. We're looking at things that would have an interest for the commission, but at some time down the road, we'll present that to the commission. We are being very conservative. It is one of those that staff, and I know this project, the lighting project, they have worked real hard on. One, to improve Coffeyville, coincide with the 150th, and they did, watching them work and labor over, the purchase of materials to present to the commission, and I was very proud of what they've done. That goes for the other city departments. They're doing amazing things, and we'll start showing that as early as possible. But if there's any questions by the commission, I'd be glad to answer those.
So we're getting to that time of year where one of our major struggles is mowing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trusting that you're talking about in the looking forward, that's something
Yes.
that we're, okay.
Yes, we're coming up with different ideas to attack it, and it is one of those that it's just something it's hard to take care of. But we know that they look to us that if we can't take care of our own, why should they take care of theirs? So it's a priority, and we'll come up with a solution that I think the commission will like. But there's some other things going along with that that staff has come up with that they want to do. So we had to talk about that today.
Very good.
Good. This time we'll take comments from the public. The public is free to comment on items not listed on the agenda. Please address comments to the commission as a body, and be mindful of others who may also wish to speak by limiting your comments to 3 minutes.
Oh my goodness, 3 minutes. I'm Mary Wilson.
You can do it, Mary.
And I wear many different hats. One of the hats I wear is a Kiwanis hat. And we have just started our drive to get sponsors for our, it's about 161 graduates at our high school. And then on graduation day, we have the yard signs out in front with their pictures and the supporting person. And they also get a plaque. And this is a program we've done for several years, and it's been well received. And I understand a lot of these things go with the young people that are going off to college because they're so proud of it. So that's what we're into right now. And we just want people to know that we really care about our children and our youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Anyone else? All right. This time we'll take comments from the commissioners and staff. I really don't have anything.
I've got, have you seen this packet, Paul? The, it's sample ordinance for tobacco-free parks?
I don't believe so. I do have an appointment with someone tomorrow, probably to discuss that topic.
Yes.
Okay.
We can name any names, right?
So, does the city have a policy for tobacco-free, basically all
No,
city?
we currently don't. That's something would be reviewed, that
All
Buildings we do.
city-owned
Buildings
property.
we do.
buildings
But
we
all
do.
city-owned property is tobacco-free, we don't have that policy.
Not in parks exclusively.
Okay, well, I'm not just discussing parks, I'm talking about all city-owned property
As a whole.
as a whole.
No, but as a whole, we don't.
Okay. Well, I would entertain both.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly the parks, but I would entertain both.
We'll be working.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe saying something about, so the individuals that weren't able to come to our State of the City.
Uh-huh.
That was our last meeting, that we were getting ready to gear up for that. So I think it went really good. I think there was a lot of hard work that was put into it. Your presenters you probably could have found some better people for that, but no, I think it's,
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think it went really good.
Yeah, I agree, and I want to thank you. I know I've thanked you previously, but
Yes.
formally,
Thank you,
thank you
Mark.
very much, Mark, because you put together a great presentation, and I think the overall event, every bit of feedback I've received has been
I know.
positive.
I just want to say it was, everything staff has done. It was easy to do and everything that I know you want, for the city, so it was easy, and we still have been contacted by the Montgomery Chronicle? Montgomery County Chronicle. They want to go over the state of the city and things that were presented during that, so, we're still getting questions that, you know, this is what we do and this is what you do and you lead us, so.
Well, you can say we lead you, but you do a very good job of leadership yourself.
Yes.
So my hat's off to you, which I don't have a hat on, but just a term. But I have sat back over the course of the last few meetings and listened to staff, and I can see a shift in how the city is operating from previous times that we had around Coffeyville. That's just my perception.
Thank you.
That's what I see, and the camaraderie and things like that I didn't see previously, and I think makes coming to work a lot easier. Put it that way.
Well, and it still goes back on you. They do understand that without you, we can't do anything. And I think your dreams, they want to fulfill, not only for you, but then for the citizens of Coffeyville. And like I've explained to them, I respect them and enjoy, but this is a story that they've got to write.
Yep.
And I will do what I can to turn pages, but they truly, truly want this Coffeyville to be great. And they do thank you. And a lot of them commented how to come from you during the state of the city of what they do, the part of the departmental, meant a lot to them.
Mm-hmm.
They knew you understood what they truly do day in and day out. So
Well, I think
I'm having fun.
Yeah, and I think it's eye-opening for the people to see that information, because I think a lot happens that people take,
They
they
don't
take it
know.
for granted that all the stuff that the city does.
That's right.
And
I just
it's a
hate
lot.
giving Shook credit because he always gets credit.
Well, speaking of Shook, he's got a presentation here. That was a good lead-in right there.
Mayor and Commissioners, I am happy to announce that Coffeyville Municipal Light and Power has once again earned the American Public Power Association's Safety Award of Excellence for safe operating practices in 2018. Our utility earned first place in the category for utility systems with 60,000 to 999,000 worker hours of annual worker exposure. Our employees take safety very seriously, from our line and substation crews, our operating and maintenance crews, to our customer service staff, including office staff. I feel as if we've developed a great safety culture, not only within our utility, but as a city organization. And for Coffeyville to receive this recognition as first place amongst our industry peers, this is a great achievement. We would like to share this award with the City Commission because without your support, it would be difficult to impossible for us to achieve such a award and recognition. So here's the plaque that we've received, and I'd like to invite the commission to take part in a picture with utility staff.
Tonight?
Not tonight.
You got time to fix your hair.
Making me nervous, Shep.
We'll try to schedule it in one afternoon, maybe next week,
Okay.
over by the
Yeah, that'll work.
substation with the utility trucks.
Yeah.
That's
We'd appreciate that.
wonderful, Mike.
It is.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else from the commission?
I think we're good.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. You don't want to.
It's been moved.
Sorry. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.